It's less than 3 hours before the Rugby World Cup final gets underway. It's the first time since 1995 that the Springboks and the All Blacks will come face to face in a final. In a recent encounter between the two sides, South Africa registered a record 35-7 victory in a warm-up match at Twickenham in August. Let's go live now to Stade de France, where we find our reporter Justin Ford, who is standing by. Justin, I'm wondering what the mood is like where you are. It seems as though momentum is building up. I must say I'm very jealous and I wish I was there with you, but I'm sure the nerves are kicking in as much as the excitement as well.
Good evening, Heidi. Fantastic to be here. Blessed to be able to be at the Stade de France as we approach kickoff 3 hours. They think 3 hours before the anthem will be sung here. We just arrived and actually got to witness, or at least hear, sort of a run through of those anthems, both the New Zealand anthem as well as the South African anthem. Loads of South Africans. Dare I say I've seen more South Africans than I've seen New Zealand fans. But yeah, definitely the excitement is building. It's cold. It's slightly drizzling here in Paris at the moment, but I think that's not going to be a factor for these fans that have, traveled from around the world to be able to witness such an iconic match between the New Zealand All Blacks and the South African Springboks.
Absolutely, and interestingly, it's also raining here in Johannesburg, but it seems as though the rain has stopped at this particular point. But I think a lot of fans are not disturbed or perturbed by that. Justin, I'm very curious to know what your predictions are for this match. I mean, I do not want to go through what I went through last week, Saturday. It's funny because my watch actually told me that I'm having I have an unusual heart rate, and I think it's got to do with the anxiety of last week's match. Do you think that we might see a repeat of what we saw last week with a very close score?
Apologies if you're not seeing me on air. I just sort of flipped my camera at the moment to just show you sort of as the fans are trickling in. 3 hours ahead of time is a long time. Just hoping that they don't get stuck in too badly to the beverages ahead of that of the final. But going back to that particular question, Heidi, I too hope that we do not have a repeat performance by the Springboks from the semi-finals against England. They themselves will admit that they weren't at their best and potentially just did enough in the very end to be able to make it to this final. So with that being said, a match between the All Blacks and South Africa, it really can go either way. Both teams know each other really well. They respect each other. And I think that's what's important as well, because the culture within both the Springbok team and the All Blacks is very similar. So the action on the field, without a doubt, hopefully is going to be exciting. I'm saying hopefully, but I'm also saying without a doubt. It just shows how confused I am. I don't know how this game is going to go. I'm hoping it goes in a very positive manner for the Springboks, because they deserve this. 62 million South Africans are hopeful that the Springboks claim an historic 4th Rugby World Cup title. You would have seen today that President Cyril Ramaphosa had visited the team earlier at the hotel where we were present. We weren't able to see that actual engagement, as it was a private engagement, but we saw him arrive. We spoke to the Minister of Sport before that, or at least afterwards, and he was confident. The team was confident that they can just continue to provide hope for South Africa when there is a little hope, and bring that 4th title back to South Africa.
Absolutely, and I think with all the support and love that's being sent to our Springboks, they'll definitely feel it. Just very lastly, Justin, I mean, in no way am I going to act like I understand rugby, because I just see the ball going on one side and I know it's not supposed to be on that side. But just looking at their game plan, I mean, many are saying that it might be a little bit risky what they're planning to do in this particular match. You obviously understand it a whole lot better, but do you think that they are taking a risk with this particular game plan, or do you think that they know what they're doing, given that it's not the first time that they are playing against the All Blacks, given their recent match and their win in August this year?
And I think it's the last part that really is important to hold on to, the fact that the Springboks had played against the All Blacks at Twickenham. They had played with a 7-1 split on the bench. What that simply translates to is the fact that they have 7 forwards and 1 backline player as replacement, so they can change during the match. what that does also tell us is the fact that it will be a very forward-dominated match, or at least what the Springboks would like to play. They do feel that a lot of players within their backlines have covered multiple positions. The likes of Kwagga Smith has played sevens. He could potentially go runner on the wing as well if need be. The likes of Chetland Colby could play fly-off, could play fullback as well as scrum-off for that matter. So they do feel confident in the approach, in the selections, and definitely the game plan. And the one thing also that needs to be mentioned is the fact that Coach Rossi Erasmus, as well as Jacques Minauber, at least the director of Rugby Coach Jacques Minauber, they do believe in this plan, and they will also stand for that plan should it not work, and take accountability for that. So we have to have confidence in this team, Heidi. That's all we can have. I will definitely be excited to be inside and witness that firsthand.
Absolutely, and just seeing behind you, Justin, I see many South African supporters and fans waving their flags and walking, obviously, to get into the stadium. But the weather doesn't look that great, but the fact that people are really coming out, it definitely does show great excitement. We'll definitely be checking in with you a little later on. Thank you so much for that update. That was Justin Ford coming to us live from Paris.